Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. Let us start by giving you all a quick brief on what OctaNet is. So, Tech OctaNet is a budding startup headquartered in Bhubaneswar, specializing in IT solutions across. Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. Let us start by giving you all a quick brief on what OctaNet is. So, Tech OctaNet is a budding startup headquartered in Bhubaneswar, specializing in IT solutions across diverse sectors including e-commerce, real estate, automation, and personalized business application. Our primary focus is to provide affordable services to startups, aiding them into their digital initiatives. In addition to our core services, we are expanding into the corporate training sector, aiming to equip future corporate employees with a solid foundation. We also address student needs by identifying academic project requirements, internship opportunities, and offering comprehensive solutions. We are proud to be incorporated as an organization with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, registered with MSME, and approved by AICTE for internship programs. Also, our commitment to quality is underscored by ISO 9001 2015 certification, ensuring that every project we undertake reaches highest standards of excellence. Okay, thank you so much. That was all. Let us now stage our instructor and start today's session.
Hello everyone. I hope you all are good. I hope I am audible to all of you. You can write in the chat box if I am audible or not. Meanwhile, you are writing this. I also wanted to know, like, how much do you guys know about web development? Like, up till if it's fine if you don't know anything about it, we are covering everything from the basics in this workshop, and it will be better so I can maintain this like speed of this session according to like majority of the people how much they know. So please tell me once if you have done a little bit of like things in web development. Okay. Okay, some of you have done the basic things. Okay. So for today's session, I have planned that we'll cover the topics of HTML and intermediate HTML, which is the basic building block in web development. It's very important for the perspective of web development, and there is no website on the internet without HTML. So let me just share my screen and yeah, give me a minute. So is my screen visible? It would be better if you can confirm if screen is visible or not. I think it's visible. So yeah, so basically all the websites that you see on the internet, for example, let's suppose this particular web page, or if I just go to google.com, you can see that this particular web page is being displayed on the internet, right? So what you are seeing here is a particular some kind of font written in Google, and input here you can search for anything about store and a lot of things. If I just right click on this, and it will open developer options for me. These all are developer options, and if I see this, then what is this? It's plain HTML. So you can see everything which is being highlighted is written with some code. You can also see the code from here. You can also change things. For example, here Google is written. If I just inspect on this Google, and it's an image of Google, right? They have not used text here, so it's an image. And I can also remove this particular image by removing this URL of the image. Here, from here it will be like removed. So there are a lot of things that you can like see from this particular web page. See, here is search lab, Google apps, and a lot of like things. Like the whole code is written something in the something in HTML. Okay, if I just right click on this and go to view page source, from here you can see that I can download the HTML file. It's a very big code, since like Google is a really big search engine, so it will have a lot of code. So we'll like learn all the things from starting from the very basic, creating some very simple web pages, like from starting with only hello world text on the web browser to creating something like similar to this web page. Okay, so let me start with a very basic introduction of HTML. So basically, HTML is not a programming language. There is also a lot of misconception around it, that if HTML is a programming language or not. HTML is not considered a programming language. It's a markup language. So what is markup language? So suppose in Notepad we are writing something like, suppose here I have written some kind of text. So this text is markup language for describing my notes. Similarly, for browsers, for writing any kind of text or any kind of font, we use HTML. For any text, for changing the font, for changing like the text boldness or anything, all of them require HTML. If I just go to Wikipedia page, let's go to Wikipedia India page, and if you see this particular page, then you can see that is a lot of text on this particular web page. See here, this is written in bold India, and this is very clearly written in italics form. And then we have these some links which go to other web pages, and there are a lot of paragraphs. So basically, HTML is like a text language for browsers. All the text that we are writing is written in HTML. So it's a markup language. So we can make this bold, we can make this italicized, and we can also add image using HTML. So HTML stands for hypertext markup language. And now if I just go to the code and start writing some of the code, then you'll like understand a little bit more about it. So for writing any HTML document, what you can do is you can create any file on your computer. It does not matter wherever you create it. I am just creating my I'm just creating my file here. I'll just delete this. I have written it previously, so I'll just delete and create it again. So I'll just create a new file. The one thing which we have to remember is we have to name the file with .html format, so that our computer can know that this particular file contains HTML code inside it. Just like, and similarly, if we are writing anything in C++, we save it with index.cpp, and if we are writing anything in Python, we write it with index.py. So if we are writing anything in HTML, we are going to save it with the name index.html. Now, starting with our document, we can also write this in Notepad. The only thing is we have to save the file with .html format only for it to understand the HTML. Now, another thing is, for writing any HTML code, we are going to write doc type HTML format here. So what this represents that the code that we are writing after this particular line is in HTML format. So if I just start writing here, I will write this HTML, and if you see more clearly, I have added the opening tag, then I have written HTML, and then the closing tag. So these are called tags in HTML. There are a lot of tags in HTML which we are going to study in today's session only. And every tag in HTML has some meaning. So this particular tag is describing that everything that I'm going to write inside this is HTML text or text for browser. So I have written here HTML. If I write inside this, now if I just save it, I just save everything, and I just right click on it, copy the path of my file, go to my browser. Okay, it's a new browser, and I paste the path of the file. If you can see clearly, then I have only pasted the file path, right? Only my file path is being pasted and nothing else. So if I click on enter, then you can see I am able to see a blank screen on my web page. So why it's blank? Because we have not yet written anything. But why we are able to see this blank white screen? Because our browser is able to identify this particular file as .html, and it is able to recognize this file. If I just click on inspect and see what code I have written, then see you can see here the all the code that we had written in the VS Code only. We had written doc type HTML, then HTML opening and closing tag, the head section and the body section. So here you can verify also that this is the only page that we are seeing here. Is this part clear? Okay. So if we just write now, if we just go to the, let me just explain it from here. uh, if I add a page, and let me just explain the divisions in the browser and how I like see them. So just give me a minute. Mhm. Okay, so I was saying that suppose this particular, if I draw here a rectangle, so this particular thing is my browser page that we are currently seeing here. This is a browser page, and it contains some section over here, this particular section, in which contains like the option to enter URL, right? It contains option to enter URL. There are a lot of bookmarks present here, and like it's some kind of a page, right? Here you have your logo of your account, and here you have a cross option and the name of the web page. It's like your web page is something similar to this. If you see here, see, and here I have, it's written index.html. For for our page it's written index.html, something like this it is written here. So if we see this particular section, then this is called the title of the page. Okay, this is called the title of the page. We can change this accordingly. For now we have not added title in our code, so we are seeing index.html by default, but we want to change it. So how we can do this? If we go back to the code, then one more thing, that all the portion that you are able to see here, this particular portion of the web page is known as the head section of the web page. And all the portion that you are able to see below, like the white section of the web page, is known as the body of the web page. So the top one is the head and the bottom one is the body of the web page. Now, if we just see it more clearly, then we can define our code inside this. And you can also see one thing, that title is coming inside the head part of the web page. Title is coming inside the head part of the web page. So we have to make two parts inside the HTML document, inside the HTML tag. So we can write tags inside tags, just like this is the opening tag, and this particular, if we add slash here, then this becomes the closing tag. This is the only difference between the opening and the closing tag. So if we just write here head, for defining the head of our page, and we can also create body for defining the body of our page. You can also see more clearly that this is the opening tag, and after adding slash, this is the closing tag. Similarly, this is the opening body tag and this is the closing body tag. So we have created this head section of the web page and the body section of the web page. Now I had like title is coming inside the head portion, So I have to write title inside the head of my web page. Title, and inside the title, if I write hello and I click on refresh, go back to my web page and hit on refresh here, then you can see my title has changed. Is this part clear? From where, like, is it not visible now? My screen is not visible. Okay, let me just rectify it once. Give me a minute. I'll just stop sharing it and share it again. Just give me a minute. I am discussing this and we'll continue and I'll repeat all the things that I have taught. Uh, is it visible now or it's still stuck? Okay. Okay, is my screen visible now? I think it should be visible. Okay, thanks for confirming. Now, let me just revise what we were discussing. Okay, I just go back here. Yeah. So what I was saying was there are two sections of our browser page basically. The top section is known as the head section, and the bottom section is known as the body section of the web page. So the title which we have to change inside this particular thing is the title, which you can also see from here. See this particular thing in on which I'm hovering the mouse. This is the title of the web page, and it comes inside the head portion of the browser, and the white section is the body part. So what I did was I divided the part in my html in two parts. The first one was the head part, and the second one was the body part. Inside the head part, since title is inside the head part, I only defined the tag title, the hello title, with the opening title tag and the closing title tag. And as soon as I had written hello here, then I'm able to see that on the title bar of my browser. So I can change this basically. So that's what is described here, that title shows what will be displayed on the browser tab. Okay, it's like the describing what your browser tab contains. So you can define it as per your choice by writing this particular code. Now I want to write some text also inside the white section of the browser. So how can I achieve this? So if you see it very clearly, then your body section, or where you have to write the text, is this particular portion, this body portion of the browser. So here, suppose I have to write something like in black, hello world. I have to write something like this on the white section of my browser. How can I achieve this? So for writing this, we'll go to the body part of the web page, and then here we'll write H1. H1 stands for heading. So there are different, one stands for the size of the heading. Okay, so it's the largest size in the HTML document. So here if I write hello world, okay, let's write hello world, and if I click on save and go back to my web page, refresh, then you can see I am able to see the heading hello world displayed on the body portion of the browser. Is this part clear? Okay. Now there are more heading tags in HTML. If I write here H2, it's the smaller version. So if I write hello world, for you can understand this more clearly. If I write here hello world, click on save, refresh, then you can see a smaller version of hello world is being displayed. Again, we also have H3. So if I write here hello world, click on refresh, then a more smaller version. Similarly, we can do for H4. So I can do that for H4 here, H5, and H6. So in total, there are 6 heading tags in HTML, and all of them are of varying sizes. So we should always use one heading tag on the browser, and rest of them should be followed by these subheadings only. So that's a good practice for always writing. We should not write everything in H1 and for that sort. So it's a good practice. We should follow this. Is this part clear? Okay. So that was about the heading part. Now, if we just go here, yeah. So here we have completed the heading tag. Okay. Now, suppose I have written, I have to write some text. If we, for example, see the Wikipedia page, then you can see we have not only displayed The title on the browser, this is the title, this is obviously with the heading tag, but this particular text is like a paragraph. So if I just copy this, what I can do is I can copy this. Yeah, I have copied this paragraph. Let me just copy this. Yeah, control C, and in go to my code, and here what I'll do is I will add here one h1, and inside this I will paste this, all the paragraph that I had copied from there, I have pasted it here. If I go back to my browser and I click on refresh, then you can see that I am able to see that particular text only on my web page, but it's very large and it's very bold in text. So paragraphs are not written with headings. So we have another tag for that, which is known as the p tag or the paragraph tag. So if I just replace my h1 with p tag, and also change the closing part, also change it to p. So it's the paragraph tag now. Go back to my web page, click on refresh, then you can see I am able to see it more clearly in a paragraph format. Okay, so this is the use case of p tag or the paragraph tag. So for writing all the text inside the document, we use paragraph tag. We can add more than one paragraph tags. We can also add more than one heading tags. So if I just copy this whole thing again and paste it, then you can see that I will be able to see two paragraphs on my web page. Okay, if I again paste it back, then I'll be able to see three paragraphs on my web page. So that's how I can add paragraphs to my web page. So this is how we can like modify the body section. Is this clear? Okay. So that was about the paragraph tag. Now, suppose if we go to this page only and we see by scrolling down, let me search for some list items or one numbered items. If we see more clearly, see, if you see here, they have these dots on the web page. These like the list, the legislature, the judiciary, these are the list that are present. The bulleted points are being displayed here. So suppose in place of paragraphs, I don't want to write paragraphs, I want to write lists in my like web page. So what I can do is I can add here one another tag for writing list. So suppose my lists are not ordered, or I don't have to write the numbers 1 2 and 3. Let me tell it to you, there are two kind of lists in html. Okay, there are two kind of lists. The first one is the unordered list, and the second one is the ordered list. Okay, these are the two kind of lists that are present. So if you see the unordered list, they are something like this. Okay, so they don't contain number or anything. And if we see the ordered list, then they are like this. So I hope you are able to identify the difference between these two kind of lists, right? So what is the difference? They don't have numbers and they have numbers. So for writing these kind of like lists, if we want to write these kind of lists, what we use is we use the ul tag. Okay, we use the ul tag, and for writing the ordered list we use the ol tag. Now this will define like what kind of list is this and what kind of list is this. So for writing the more than one list items, this is the particular format that we use. Suppose I want to write this particular list, this particular unordered list. Okay, so I am going to write here ul opening tag and ul closing tag, and inside my ul tag I will write here li cake and closing tag. Similarly for rest too, I will write it like this. So let's go back to the code and write something like this and see what happens. Okay, so I will just write here ul opening and closing tag, then li. I will write here cakes and click on refresh, go back to my web page and hit on refresh and see what I can see. So I can see bulleted point with cakes displayed here. So I can add inside the UL tag only. I have to add more than one list if I want to display the list. Okay, so for I can write here oranges, and I can also add a list item for bread. Okay, so if I go back and click on refresh, then you can see three type of list items are being displayed on my web page. So that's how we like display the list size item in HTML. Now suppose I want to display, I hope this part is clear to all of you. Yeah, so if we go back and see that how we can display these particular numbered lists here, so what we can do for that sort is we can write here ol. Okay, and the similar list items, these will be same for both of them. Okay, this will be same, and the closing ol tag. Okay, these two will be similar. So let's try writing this. I will write ol representing ordered list. Inside this I will write list, and I will write here cakes. This is the first list item. Then I will write the second list item, which is oranges, and the third list item, which is the bread. If I click on refresh, go back to my web page, hit refresh here, then you can see I am able to see the numbered lists of 1, 2, and 3 on the browser. I hope this is clear. Yeah. So that if I revise everything, then what we have studied, we have to write doc type HTML. Then we write HTML opening and closing tag. Inside the HTML opening and closing tag, we add two sections: the head section and the body section. Inside head section is what we do all the computation, and we add all the links. And here this is the title that we have displayed. Then inside the body there are 6 type of headings, and these are the paragraph tags for writing the text. This is the unordered list, and this is the ordered list. So for now we have covered all of these tags. One thing that is left is the bold tag or the B tag. So if I want to, suppose I want to make this India text only bold, not everything inside the text, but only the India part bold. So what I can do, inside the paragraph only, I can wrap my India text inside the B tag like this. So what I have done here is I have wrapped this inside the B tag. I click on save, go back to my web page, click on refresh, then you can see that the text of India has become bold now. So for like this, I can do for a lot of like text. Suppose not only India, I can go it to Republic of India and go back, click on refresh. Then you can see the official Republic of India J20 is like being bold now. So that's the use of B tag here. UL we have studied, OL we have also studied. One thing more, we can create nested lists. So let me like explain you a little bit about how we can create. What is nested list actually? Suppose I want to display something like this. Suppose I want to display uh, this first unordered list displaying books, and let's say I have English, Hindi, and another list item displaying fruits, and it contains apple and banana. Okay, so suppose I want to display uh, like a list something similar to this. So how we can achieve this? So if we go back to our code And if I start writing here, first of all, we have to write the unordered list, right? So we will write here UL. Inside UL, I have two list items, the books and the fruits. So I will write here LI and I will write here books. Now what I'll do is, after this I will write OL, and I will write LI inside this, and I will say English, and another one which will be Hindi. Okay, so let me refresh everything. See, here it's the UL, the list item, then ordered list, since we have to number them as 1 and 2. So I have used OL for that purpose, and I have written English and Hindi. Let's see what we see on the web page. If I refresh everything, then you can see inside the books I have two list items, English and Hindi. Similarly, what I will do is, I will add another list item inside UL tag only, namely fruits. Now after this list item, I will add OL, list item with apple, and another list item with oranges. I refresh and go back to my web page, click on refresh, then you can see I am able to see fruits also. Suppose if it was not 1 and 2, then, and it were only bulleted points, not 1 and 2 but only bullet points. So I think you are now able to identify how we are going to achieve like this. You can also write the answer in the chat box for the code if you wish, and I think you will be able to do this particular, like how we are going to display this particular list using HTML. You can also write your answer in the chat box. So you can do it on your own. I don't think I have to write this. You can do this. Okay. Now let's go back to our next portion, which is the A tag or the link tag. So let me just explain a little bit about this. So suppose I am present on this particular web page. Suppose I am here. This is one web page, or let's say this is our web page. Okay. Hello. This is our web page, and we have here this particular heading, Hello World. Okay. Our web page. Now suppose I have a particular link here. Go to something written in blue, www.google.com, for example. Something like this is written on the web page, and if I click on this, I am redirected to the main page of Google, the Google homepage. Okay, so I want to achieve something like this. So for doing something like this, we use a tag which is known as the A tag, or the also known as the anchor tag. Okay, you can also see the anchor tag use case on Wikipedia page also. Everything that you are seeing in the blue color, okay, or and the underlined items, they are all basically what? They are all the anchor tags for going to another page. Now we are reached to South Asia page. If I click on sub region, then I'll be redirected to some other portion of the web page. See, I'm redirected to sub region. So these are all the use of anchor tags. So how we can achieve this on our web page? Let's see this. So yeah, if I go back to my web page, and let me just remove everything from here, only h1 hello world will stay here. Okay, now let me add anchor tag. Inside the anchor tag, I can write anything like go to Google. Okay, click on refresh, go back to my web page, and refresh everything. Then you can see plain text is coming, it's not blue. Why? Because we have not specified any href or any link where it should go. So we have to specify the URL also where it should go. So we will write href. This is known as the attribute. So anything that we are writing inside the tag, some URL of the web page and the closing anchor tag. So this particular thing is known as the attribute of tag. Okay, we define this as attribute. So for attribute, I am going to write something like google.co.in. Okay, so I have copied the URL of google.co.in and I am going to paste this inside the href. So you can see I have pasted this here. If I go back to my web page, click on refresh, then you can see it has now changed its color, right? And it has become underlined. So if I click on it, then I am easily able to redirect to google.com. Okay, so that's the use of anchor tag basically. Now p tag we have already discussed. Now let's discuss how we can add images. As you can see in Wikipedia page also and a lot of pages on the browser, you are able to add images on the web page. This is particular thing is the image. So images are also very important for the web page. So suppose I want to add an image. So what I can do is I can uh, suppose this is my web page and I have to paste one image, particular image here. Okay, I want to display an image here. So what I can do is I will go to my code. I will write here img. Okay, this is a self-closing tag. Img is a self-closing tag, which means it does not require a closing tag. We can write it like this, something like this. Okay, so inside this we will write the attribute of src. This will contain the link of our image. So if you just go to Google and search for some random images, okay, we are getting something like, we can go to this, it's a really cool website for like images, and we'll take some this pick some photos or something like this. Let's try copying this. Go back and paste this. I click on refresh, go back to my web page, click back and click on refresh. Then you can see we are able to see an image, a random image on the screen. So one good use case of this lorem pixum is we are able to generate, as soon as we click on refresh, we can get random images here. So this is the URL of the image. You can add any image of yours or choice. Okay, any particular image of your choice. So for example, this particular image, you have to copy the URL and you have to paste this in the source of the image. Then you will be able to like add the image on your web page. Okay, you can also take the image from your local browser also, from your local computer also. The only thing is you have to write here source, source like the location in which your image is present, and you will be able to see that particular image on your web page. So I hope this part is clear to you all. You just like have to add uh, that particular thing. Okay, now, yeah, so now what we have to do is we have to, yeah, so we have covered the part of the image tag. Now another attribute is also present on the image tag. So suppose for some reason you have this particular image but you are not able to see the image due to internet disruption, for example. So you are not able to see the image, you are getting something blank. So you will get something like this image and the box of the image. You might have seen it at a lot of places, that you are getting some file this, and it says you are not able to see the particular image. So for all the reasons, to display what there was at this particular place, we use alt attribute. Okay, so suppose for some reason this particular src, this source, is not correct. Let me just, yeah, for example, if I just remove this, it's incorrect url for now, and I have added here alt, and this alt will contain this particular value. If I go back, click on refresh, then you can see I'm getting this particular thing written here, and the image file thing. So this says that I am not able to see this picture, but there was something I'm able to see. So that's the use case of alt for the image. Now we have these particular tags, the subscript, superscript, and the subscript. So suppose you have to write something, like you might have seen we write H2O, right? So if you see here, 2 is subscript here, right? And if I just want to write suppose 2 square, this particular thing is superscript. So how can we write these particular text is what explained by the subscript and the superscript. Okay, so if I just go to this particular document, and suppose here I want to write H2O. Okay, if I save this, go back, click on refresh, then you can see 2 is like displayed somewhat here. If I wrap this 2 in this sub tag, right? If I wrap this in sub tag, click on refresh, then you can see that it has yeah, this will be O. Okay, see, now we are able to see this as like what we wanted, like this. Okay, H2O. Now 2 square will be somewhat similar to this. There will be little bit of differences, like here it will be 2, and this will not be there, and in place of sub it will be superscript for superscript. Okay, sub for superscript. If I refresh, you can see that I am able to see it in the superscript form. So I hope this part is clear to you all. This is the use case of subscript and superscript. Now uh, HTML should only have the head and body tag inside, and inside the body tag, all the content goes, which I have already explained you, and all the CSS and JavaScript, which we'll study further, and all the links where we are going to other web pages will be displayed on the head tag, basically. Now another important thing which I told you earlier, that a web page should only have a one HTML, one H1 tag. Okay. Now sometimes I want to put elements which are available, which are not available on our keyboard. So for them we can use entity codes. So you might have seen something like this. If let's suppose I write something like this, and this particular symbol is not present on our keyboard. Let me just write the code also. I write here paragraph, and inside this I paste only the code that they had said, and I refresh it. So you can see I am able to see this particular symbol, and this is not present on my keyboard. So for the code that is written here is known as the entity code. Now comes the very important part in HTML, which is the div. So div does not have as such use cases of it, and it's just like if you see, if you see it very clearly, then you can understand. Just look at it very clearly. Suppose I have one uh, container, okay, and this is my container, and inside my container I have different like things. Okay, this is my another container. Okay, and this also contains some things. Okay, so Similar things are there. Suppose this is red ball. Okay, this is also red ball, but both of them are in different container, right? So both of these balls are can be considered as very different from each other, right? So both of these containers, these can be considered very different from each other. Similar to this, suppose I have written here h1 hello, closing tag h1, p tag hello, closing tag p, and similar to this I have written h1 hello, closing tag h1, p hello, closing tag p. And if I say I have wrapped all of them inside a div, because this is a container for html, I have wrapped this inside another div. So these are simply containers for our tags. Okay, I can style this accordingly, like I can change the size of this accordingly, I can change the size of these accordingly. So they are basically the containers. Okay, so just like container, we'll do this. We'll write div opening tag, div closing tag, and inside this we'll write h1 and the paragraph tag. So that's the use case of div. Okay, so let me just write it once. So suppose I have this particular things, the all of these things that are written here, and I have the a tag and the image tag. So I will do one thing. I will wrap the first three tags inside first div and wrap the rest three tags inside the second div. So div, and I'll wrap all of these three tags, this tag, and this tag inside first div tag. Okay, now I will add another div tag and I'll wrap all of them inside this. So if we go back and click on refresh, you might not be able to see a lot of difference here, but there is difference, a lot of difference, that now it's in container. So suppose like you'll be able to identify all of these things a little bit later on, that this is like I am just explaining it for the purpose of differentiating between the div. So if I just write here background color, let's say Alice blue, I have written something like this. If I go back and click on refresh, then you can see one thing. Let me just take more better color. Let me take blue. Okay, so this is css part. You don't have to go into the detail how I have written this, but for now, for explaining that how both of these divs are different. So inside the div I have added this particular attribute that changed the background color to blue. So all of the contents that are present inside the particular div have changed their color to background color to blue, and rest three tags which are present in the other div have not changed their color. So that's the use case of div or the container. I hope this part is clear. Okay, now, okay, now I hope this part is clear to all of you. Now we'll go to the next part, which is the line break and the horizontal rule tag. Okay, so suppose if we see this particular paragraph, let me show you one paragraph also. I might have, let me take some random paragraph. Okay, random paragraph. So if I just go here, this is some random paragraph. I copy it and go back to my web page and add one p tag displaying this particular paragraph. Okay, if I go back to my web page, click on refresh, then you can see all the things that we were seeing in the paragraph have come here. Now suppose I want that a new line should come after this desperate word. Okay, the club should be from the next line. So for that, wherever I want next line, it's desperate, right? So from here I want a new line, so I will write here br. If I click on refresh, then you can see that it has come to a new line. So that's the use of break tag. Now suppose after this paragraph I want to display one horizontal line. Okay, so if I write here just simply HR, then a horizontal line will be displayed on the web page. So that's the use case of the break line tag and the horizontal rule. I hope this part is clear. Yeah, we can also take the lorem ipsum. If you just go to the browser, lorem ipsum generator. So you can also take the text from here, from the lorem ipsum io. See, they generate random paragraph, and there are a lot of paragraphs you can take from here. So that's also a very good website. Lorem ipsum for images and lorem ipsum for the paragraphs. So yeah, so the basic HTML part is complete. Now we have not covered a lot of tags that are present in HTML, but I am giving you a reference of a very good website, which is documentation. Basically, it's W3 Schools, and if you just go here and select HTML from here, then there is a lot of elements and attributes that are present in HTML. You can see it from here. So all the thing, the heading, the paragraph, the style, formatting, everything is present here. Okay. See, there are a lot of HTML tags, so you can study them from here. You don't have to remember all of them, but you can check this out. It's a really good website for like studying the rest of the parts. So if you know the syntax of writing, then you will be able to understand everything that is being written in the documentation. So you can check this out, W3 Schools documentation. Now, yeah, this particular part is clear. This comes inside the basic HTML part. I have also like created this particular website. You can also check this out. Let me just show it to you. Hmm, let me just check it once if it's the correct website. Yeah, so I have created something like this with using only HTML. Here are the links, whom and whom is not present, about, something like this, and contact. This is not present. Like all the things that are present, they are being displayed here. Chicken, then lorem ipsum, some of the paragraph, the image, a lot of paragraph. Okay, and you can create a web page like this now. With all of the things that we have studied, you can create a page like this. I hope you will be able to create it. Okay, now, yeah. So, hmm. Okay, now we come to a very intermediate part of HTML, which is forms in HTML. So suppose you might have seen a lot in a lot of pages the login and a lot of things. Suppose the login form, you might have seen it a lot of places. Let me show you with an image. So you might have seen these kind of forms at a lot of places on the web browser. It takes the detail of your email and the details of your password, and then when you click on sign in, then these details are submitted on the web page. So these are known as forms in HTML. We also create them. So there in this, suppose this is your web page. Okay, and inside this web page you have this particular area to, for let's suppose this particular area is there where you can type anything, and you also have another one, and here you have a button which says submit. So as soon as you click on submit on this button, the details that you have entered here will be submitted somewhere. Okay, so here suppose I write the name, and here I write anything of that sort, then that will be submitted. So all of this that you want to get submitted comes inside forms in HTML. Okay, so how we write form? So for that we have the form tag. Okay, we write form opening tag and form closing tag. And all the form tag have a button which is very important. So for writing button, we use the button opening and button closing tag. And inside the button, we write submit. Okay, this is also a tag for creating buttons. Okay, now here everything that we will like taking as input. So we create input. Okay, and here we will write things. So let me just go back and show it to you guys. So for example, I have created these particular forms. Let me open and show it to you guys. Copy the path, paste it in the browser. So this is something I have created. So it has this form heading, it has this hello button, this phone submit, and the username. I can write something like this here. I'm also able to write this. So we'll create something like this here. Okay, so let me just show it to you once. So yeah, this was the file that we created previously. We'll just go back to the hello file again. Okay, I'll just close everything and remove the code inside the body, because that's what we are going to change here. So inside body, I have removed all the code. Now what I want to do is I want to create a form which will submit the values that I am going to take as input. Okay, so now what I will do is I will write form opening tag, and here I will write input this. Okay, and for now let's write only this. Let's see what we are able to see on the screen. If I click on refresh, then you can see a box, merely box, in which I can write something is being displayed here and nothing else. Okay, so let's suppose I want to make it more meaningful, like what I have to enter here. For example, I want the user to enter his first name here. Okay, so what I can do is I can give a label to my input. Okay, label. This label will contain description. For example, enter first name. Okay, enter first name. If I refresh this, then you can see a label is being created with respect to my input. Now you can like identify what I have to basically write here. So I suppose I can write the first name here, John. Now similar to this, I can create more than one input. Okay, it's using the similar format. So I can use label, enter last name, and the input for that sort. So two inputs will be displayed saying enter first name and enter last name. Okay. Now, as I said previously, we are going to submit the values that are present. One more thing inside the input, for explaining a little bit more, I can add here placeholder, which will describe thing what we have to write inside. So if I refresh, you can see inside this a placeholder is also being displayed that we can write something like this here. Okay, not, it's not merely a box. So you might have seen it at a lot of places. Again, I can add a placeholder here displaying the last name. Okay, now for our as I already told you, for our like form we need a button for submitting these values. There is always a button in form. Okay, so this particular button will say submit. Okay, if we go back, click on refresh, then you can see I am also getting a submit button. Okay, right here, this something like this, click on submit, then something is happening. See, we are writing and then submitting is happening. So this particular form does what? It submits the value. Now we can add a path here. If I write here action, so as soon as my form is being submitted, I can redirect it to some I can redirect it to some web page. For example, I can redirect it to google.co.in as soon as we click on submit. Okay, so I can write here this, go back, click on refresh, let me add values John and do, and if I click on submit, then I'll be redirected to google.com. Okay, I hope this part is clear to you all. Okay, is this part clear? Okay, now let's go back. So this was about the forms part. Okay, you can create multiple forms, like more than one form. Suppose this is form 1. Okay, you can also add comment like this, form 1. Okay, I can create one more form. Let's say this will take the uh, uh, this will take more details of the user. For example, uh, what I can say, the address of the user or the pin code of the user. So I can say here add address. Okay, address, and I can also give one input here, and this input will say something like address, one button here basically for submitting. And this is my second form that I have created, will be displayed next to the first form. If I write anything, click on submit, then this will be submitted. Okay, any sort of thing, this will be submitted. I hope this part is clear to all of you. Action is basically where after clicking on submit button you will be redirected or you will be sent. So if you see this action part, then if as soon as I click on this particular submit button, I will be redirected to google.co.in because I have added the URL. So whatever thing you want to do after the user clicks on submit button, you can add that URL here. So that's the use of action. Okay, so we have studied about the forms, we have studied about the input. There are also like a lot of types of input. For example, we can create input. This is placeholder. We are using that by default the type of text. So if I write the type text, then there will be no change because it's text only. If I write here radio, then a circular checkbox will be here. See, a radio button has come. I can also change the type to checkbox. So there are a lot of like types of input. See, this is a checkbox that we have created for the input. So yeah, there is also a password one. So if I write here type equal to password, and if I refresh this, write anything, then you can see that this is coming as a password format. It's we are not able to see this, right? So that's the input type of password. And yeah, so there are different types. You can also check them out on the internet. Number, you can write color, like a lot of things. If I write here color, for example, click on refresh, then you can see I'm able to select color from here, right? So there are a lot of inputs that are present in HTML. Okay, now this part is for forms is also clear. See that I was displaying when we submit a form, an HTTP request is sent to the server, and we control where that request goes to using action attribute, and we also control which type of HTTP method using the method attribute. So what they are saying, let me just explain it to you a little bit further. So this particular if you just take the example of google.com, or let's take our web page. Okay, so suppose this is our web page of, for example, Google. Okay, and we are here. This is the search box, and we are searching here something. For example, we are searching give random images. Okay, we have searched it in the search box. Okay, And as soon as we have searched this particular thing, this request, as soon as we hit on enter, this request goes to another region, uh, where we have like our servers. Okay, this particular region, there here we contain our servers. Okay, this is the backend. Okay, this is the client side, or we say front end. Okay, the client which we are able to see, this is the front end. Okay, so as soon as we click on enter, this particular is the http request that we are sending. The request that we are sending here is known as the http request. Okay, now we'll not go into much detail, like we'll explain it in I'll explain this in a later point of time when we'll be studying about the backend part. So the we send http request. There are different types of requests that we send to the server. Okay, this server will analyze what question we have received. That it will analyze that we have received give random images question, and as a response, it will send us some response. Okay, it will send us some response. Okay, so this particular response is generally an HTML code. Okay, this HTML code is what we see on our front end. Okay, so that's how this whole process of like sending request and receiving is happening. So what they are saying is, as soon as we submit a particular form, for example, we have used the submit button here, and we have in the action button we have said that redirect to www.google.co.in. Okay, so let me explain what is happening here. So this is our web page. It's saying as soon as we click on this particular submit button, we have to go to www.google.co.in. So this submit button will send a request to the server that we have to go we have to display the Google web page, the w, and it will send, this is the request, and this will send a response of web page www.google.co.in, and we will be able to see this, everything will be changed here, and we'll be able to see what, we'll be able to see the Google web page here. Okay, so that's how this whole process of request and response is working. So that's what they are explaining here. I hope this part is clear. Now, placeholder we have studied right now, and then we have the button part, submit, then we have the input and checkbox, radio buttons. Select is also what we have to study. Suppose you have on your web page something like this. Uh, you might have seen in a lot of places drop down, something like this, and when you click on this particular drop down, you are able to see the list items here, right? So how we can achieve this in the form? So if I just go back to my web page and I add here another tag which is known as the select tag. Okay, the first one is the option. Here I write option, and inside the option I will write option 1. For example, I can write anything here. I'm writing something like this. Option 2 and option 3. Okay, let's see what we see on the web page. If I go back to my web page, click on refresh, then you can see I am able to see a select option with all the options that I was able to write. Okay, so you can add options of your choice and the user can select accordingly. So that's the use of select in HTML, and we greatly use it in forms. Okay, so that's this form. Range is also there, input type range. If you add, then there will be a slider displayed. Then we have step, min, max, and range. There are a lot of things, you can check them out. Text area, multi-line text. Okay, so text area can also be there. Then we have if we just add the text area here, let me show it to you once. Text area. Okay, I save this, go back to my web page, click on refresh. Then you can see it's comparatively bigger region, and we can also increase the height and width of this area. We can make the user write something here. So this particular thing is known as what? It's known as the text area, and we can change the height and width of this accordingly. Okay, so that's the use of text area. And we have the validations like rule on password. Okay, then we have okay, yeah, so this part regarding the forms is completed. If you guys have any doubts, you can ask me, then we'll move to the table part. Is there any doubt? Okay, so if everything is clear, we can move to the next part, which is also very important regarding HTML. So that's the table part. So you might have seen on a lot of web pages that you are able to see some tables here. Okay, so for suppose I want to create a very simple table, something like this. Like this is the table, and here I have the name. Okay, this is the heading of the name, and this is heading of the age. Okay, and there are two values. For example, John age 19 and Do age 20. Okay, so suppose I want to make a table like this on the HTML. So how I can do this? So for writing heading of the table, we use for writing the table. First of all, we start with the table tab. So we'll write the table opening and the table closing tag. That's the basic requirement. So so that our code can know that from here we have to write the code for the table. Inside this, that table code will be written. Now if I write here inside this t head, similar to what the HTML document was there. Okay, this will go a little bit more below. So see, this is the head portion of the table. Okay, this is the head portion of the table, and this is the body portion of the table. Okay, these two sections, this is the head section and the body section of the table. Now inside the head section, we add tr represents the row. Okay, this particular row, this particular row is what is being displayed as TR. And since we want to define heading, so heading should be bold. So we have used this TR inside T head. Okay, we have used this inside T head. Now inside the TR, we'll also add the closing tag for TR. And if I write TD name, then this will be my first heading for name. Okay, similar to this I will add second heading for name. So that's the proper format of writing the table. Let me just go back and create one table for better explanation. So inside the body, I will start writing the table opening and table closing tag. Inside this, I will divide this into two sections, namely T head and the T body section. Okay, now the T head section will basically contain the TR, the table row portion, and inside the table row we'll have the first TD represents table details. So this will be my name, and the second will be age. Okay, I refresh this, so you can see the table, the T head section, T body section does not contain anything for now. Then inside first row we have to represent this TD basically. So if I just go back, click on refresh, then you can see I am getting two values, name and age. So we can add border, which is the CSS style part. We'll do that later on, but for now just see that we are getting name and age as two columns here. Okay, two columns are being made. Now inside the T body, what I can do is I can write the values like this. I want to add values here, John and Doe. So I will do that only. Inside the T body, I will again say TR, and then I will say TD, and this TD will be containing John, right? This will be my first value of the row, and then another table detail which will be the age of John, right? If I click on refresh here, then you can see inside the name and age, I am getting John and the age 19. Similar to this, I can add another TR, and I can write here Do 20. This will be displayed as the third row of the table. So I hope how we create the table, this part is clear to all of you. We can create multiple tables like this. A very big table we can also create using the similar format. And inside the table, we have header C. This is the known as the table data cell. All the cells in the table. Then they are inline elements. Inline element meaning they all will come in a single line. Then TR is the table row element, and TH is the input column heading, table header. Okay, TH the head section. Then we have the T head, T body, and T foot. So uh, you can see that the one thing that name and age are not being getting like bold, they are not bold. Okay, so how we can make this bold is in place of TR in TH we can write TH here in place of TR for the heading. If I refresh this, click on refresh, then you can see that it's a little bit changed, like the indentation is being there and all of these things. So that's how we can like use the heading part. Okay, it will differentiate it from the rest of the contents on the table. Then we have yeah, so that's the part of the table. So you can create multiple entries also in the table. You can create more than one table. So for example, this is one table, right? This particular table is the one table. I can also repeat this table, or I can write another table. If I just copy this, paste this, you can see there will be two table being displayed, right? Again paste this, then there will be three. So you can create multiple tables also, you can create multiple data entries also, depends on your use case. Okay, you can create multiple entries accordingly. So I hope this part is clear to all of you. What you can do is you can try creating a table. Let me show it to you. Table in HTML, and yeah, do one thing. You can try this on your own. Try creating table similar to this. Okay, it should also contain the border and everything. Try this on your own, and then you'll be able to understand more about the tables and everything. Okay, you can take the screenshot of this. I'm giving you a 1 minute time for that, and a little bit of time for going through all the codes that we have written today. Okay. Done. You can also take the screenshot of this code for your practice. Take the screenshot of this particular code for clear understanding. I'm giving you 1 minute for this. Yeah, so I'll be like back in a minute. Meanwhile, you can revise all the things that we have studied up till now, and please ask if you have any doubts. Then we'll move further to the. I think the HTML part is complete from my side. Yeah, one more thing. Copy path and paste this. Try completing this particular page on your own. This is a form assignment. You can do this particular assignment. Take the screenshot of this and try developing this on your own. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I think you all have done this part. It's good if you have completed this also right now. Now the basic things about the HTML we have completed, that we require for building a basic website. There are still a lot of things left in HTML which we have to like discuss and study, but due to time constraints we are not covering all the aspects of HTML. As I also told you earlier, you can go to W3 School's documentation to study in detail about the HTML part on your own, and that's a like particularly good practice if you don't waste a lot of time in doing the similar kind of things, and you study a little bit part on your own, the try things on your own also, and we move further accordingly. So using this particular method, I'll be able to explain lot of concepts in web development, including the full stack, the front end and the back end part basically. So I think that's a very crucial step that we need to follow, and also some effort from your end will also be required for that. Okay, now we'll study a little bit about like we'll give a brief introduction about the CSS part today, and then we'll complete the rest of the CSS part tomorrow. So there are still a lot of things that are present in CSS, so we'll do everything accordingly, and if you have any doubts you can ask in the chat box. So now starting with the index.ht, if suppose I have a particular text, let's suppose I have this particular web page, I will remove everything and I will start writing a new fresh HTML code from here. Okay, now I will write here doc type. Wait just a second, I will write here doc type HTML, then this will be the opening tag for the HTML, then this will be the head portion of our web page, and this will be the body section of our web page. Okay, now inside the head section I will add a title. This title will say C we are learning CSS in this project basically. Now if I click on this, copy the path and go back, remove this, paste this in my browser, then you can see I am able to see this particular title, learning CSS, and the and are basically the whole code of it. Now what I do is I will add one heading, hello world. I will add another heading here displaying the similar text, hello world. Okay, if I refresh everything, then you can see I'm able to see two text displayed on my screen. Now let's suppose if we see some web pages, for example this, the font is something different, right? If you just go to let's suppose if we go to google.com, we see that this particular texts are in blue, it's in white, and not everything is like very plain like that is displayed here. Font is also very different and everything. So how we can do this, like how we can change the color of the heading or the color of the text basically. So that part of styling the text and also changing color, changing the background color, changing the screen color and everything, that all comes in the styling part. Okay, the CSS part. So if you just go to the notes that we have done here, then we can see that there are three methods of writing styles. Okay, I'll explain all of these little by little. So there are basically CSS stands for, give me a minute, yeah. So CSS basically stands for cascading style sheet. Okay, CSS stands for cascading style sheet. Now there are primarily three methods of using CSS. First one is the inline method. Okay, inline method. Second one is using style tag, and third one is using style sheet. Okay, there are three methods of doing this. Now, the first method, if you just look at the first method, how we do this, the inline method. So inline method means basically wherever you are writing your code, suppose you have your heading hello world and you want to change the color of this particular heading to, let's suppose you want to change it to blue. Okay, it's black for now, but you want to change it to blue, for example. So inline method says what, inside the opening tag, okay, in place of this opening tag, what you have to write, you have to write h1, then you have to write here style, okay, then opening bracket, then you will say, suppose you want to change the color of this text, so you will write here color, color. This is the spelling of color in html, you have to remember that. Then you will add this particular colon and you will write here blue. You will close this. This is the change that you have to make in the opening tag. Then rest all will be same, you have to write here hello world, and this is the closing tag for h1. Okay, so let's try doing something like this in our code and see what is the result that we are able to see here. So let me just go back to my code. Yeah, so this is the first heading. In place of this opening tag, I have to write here attribute which says style, then color property to will be blue. Okay, everything similar, nothing is different. And now we will go back to the web page. If I click on refresh, then you can see that I am able to see blue color heading on the web page. So this is the first method of doing this using inline cascading style sheet or inline css. Okay, the similar kind of thing can be done with another method. So suppose I want to do the same for this particular h2 heading, so here I can write style, the color can be for example orange, and if I save here, go back, then you can see now the color of both of them have changed. Okay, so that this is the first step that we can do. The second method is using the style tag, right? The second method, see, this is the second method that we have written, use style tag. So let's explain what the second method is. Now, if we look at the second method using style tag, so basically HTML gives us some of the style tag also basically. So if you just write here style opening tag and the style closing tag, okay, and inside this, suppose you want to change the color of h1, okay, so you can write h1 opening and closing bracket, and inside this you can write color colon to blue. Everything same, only difference is we have used tag here and we have targeted the particular element here. Okay, so let's try doing this method here. So what I'll do is I'll remove this method of styling, go back to the traditional code that we had written, then inside the body only, what I can do, I can add a style tag, style opening and style closing tag, and here what I will do, I will say that I want to change the color of my h1, okay, to let's say blue. Okay, so I did something like this, written this inside, and let's see what is the change that we see here. So see, everything removed, but still we are able to see the blue color. Similarly, what I can do, I can write here h2 and I can say color to orange. So the second heading color will change to orange. So this is the second method how we can write the styles here. Okay, the third step is instead of writing all of this styles inside a single page and the html also in one page, we can create a new file. Okay, so let me just delete this. I can name it anything of my choice. Okay, so I will create a new file here, namely style.css. Okay, so that's the .css represents that this is a CSS file. And if I write here h1 and I say color to blue and h2 color to orange, and let me remove the styling code from here. I will remove this. Okay, now let's go back and click on refresh. So you can see, even though we have created a new file, we have written h1 color to blue and h2 color to orange, but we are not able to see this on our browser basically. So what can be the probable issue? So the third type is known as style sheet. Okay, so in this, basically inside the head tag, first of all we have to connect the files, the our html and the css file. We have to connect both of them. So inside our html head section, what we have to do is we have to write here link. Okay, link is also a tag similar to anchor tag. So here we will write link href. Okay, then it will be style.css, the name of our file, and we'll write here related to style sheet. Our link is related to style sheet. These two attributes we have to add in our link, and after this our files will be connected and we'll be able to see the change in our code. Okay, so if I go in the index.html, go to the head section, and inside this I write link. Okay, and here I write href style.css. Okay, and it's related to style sheet. Okay, if now let's check if things are happening. So they are happening. So now our css file is connected. So the third method is the most useful method, and it's the most used method that we use for writing the css. I hope these three methods of writing css are clear to all of you. So there are a lot of things like we can change. Suppose I want to change the background color of body. So here I can target the whole body portion, and I can write here the background color to, let's suppose, black. Okay. So if I write this like this and I go back, so you can see that I'm able to see the black background on the screen. Okay. Yeah. So I hope all of these things are clear to all of you. You can try connecting the CSS files on your own, and we'll complete the rest of the CSS part for tomorrow. And there we'll study about more attributes in that are present in CSS, what all things we can do using styling, and also we'll study a lot of things like transformation, animation. There are a lot of things that are present in CSS that we'll do. So if it's complete from my part. If you have any doubts, you can ask, or we can end this session. You can ask for any doubts if you have. Roadmap will can basically contain all the things like which we are studying in this particular course, and you can study all of these things in detail. I will not go into the detail of all of these things, but you can like write all of these things down. These are the most important things. And for roadmap, I can say that we have studied HTML. Now learn the CSS part, then the JavaScript part, and after that the Node, Express, and the MongoDB. These are the like different steps how you can complete the full stack part. So we'll cover all of these things little, and you can complete all of them. So in that way, you will be able to create websites on your own.